Well, here's a guy who I think trusted his gut immediately. Oh, this story has a small update at the end. He says, am I the a-hole for abruptly divorcing my wife of 15 years after she requested an open relationship? I never thought I'd be here, typing out my life's implosion for strangers on the internet. I am a 47-year-old man, divorced after 15 years of marriage, wondering where it all went wrong. My wife, ex-wife now, I guess, is 49. We didn't have kids, which I suppose is a small mercy given how things turned out. She's been a bank manager for the last decade, pretty successful by most measures. Before that, she was an assistant principal at a high school, driven, ambitious, always climbing that career ladder. We had our issues early on, I won't lie. She struggled with drugs and alcohol when we first got married. Some people will say that dating someone that has a substance abuse problem won't make a good partner. In some cases, but rare, people can kick this habit. It got bad enough that I had to lay down an ultimatum: get clean or I'm done. She chose me, chose us, and I was proud of her for that. For years, I thought we'd beaten those demons together. I guess I was naive. Looking back, I can see the cracks forming. Our sex life took a nosedive a couple of years ago. At first, I chalked it up to stress, hormones, all the usual suspects. I tried everything I could think of to spice things up: romantic dinners, weekend getaways, new toys in the bedroom. See, this is what men do, thinking if we can be more attentive and do different things to make our woman happy, she might come back around. Nope, doesn't always work. Nothing worked. She always had an excuse: too tired, too busy, not in the mood. Then she started talking about this guy from work. Let's call him Austin. At first, it was just in passing. Oh, Austin said the funniest thing today. Austin's idea really saved us in that meeting. But soon, it was Austin this, Austin that. I haven't even met the guy, but I was starting to feel like I knew his whole life story. Men, if your woman is always talking about another man, pay attention to it. You might find out she is doing more than talking about him. About a month ago, my wife tells me she and some female coworkers are doing happy hour. Now, this set off alarm bells immediately. So you're drinking again? I asked. She assured me she wasn't. Said she just wanted to hang out with her work friends. I didn't push it. She came home around 7 p.m., sober as a judge, not a whiff of alcohol on her. I thought maybe I was being paranoid. But then the happy hours started happening more and more. 2, 3 times a week she'd be out with the girls from work. Always home at a reasonable hour, always sober. I wanted to believe her, I really did. Then came the bombshell. We were sitting on the couch one night, some mindless action flick playing in the background, when she turns to me and says, I think we should open our marriage. What do you guys think? Think she already had someone in mind? I nearly choked on my pizza. What? She launched into this whole spiel about how one of her coworkers and her husband were doing it, how it had spiced up their relationship, how she thought it could be good for us too. I didn't say much, just told her I'd think about it, but in my gut I knew she had someone in mind already, probably had for a while. This is a man that is paying attention to his gut, which makes logical sense. Why? Because she is asking for an alternative relationship out of the blue. No warning. The very next day, I called a private investigator. Felt like a complete asshole doing it, but I had to know. I told him I didn't know if she was cheating, but the sudden interest in an open marriage plus all the talk about this Austin guy made me suspicious. While I waited for the PI to do his thing, I talked to a divorce attorney just in case. He told me in the state of Georgia that if I could prove infidelity, I wouldn't have to pay spousal support. That was a relief, at least. He also told me if I can set up a new bank account if we have a joint bank account. 3 weeks went by. My wife got more and more distant, but I pretended not to notice. I was walking on eggshells, waiting for the other shoe to drop. When the PI finally called, I wasn't prepared for what he had to tell me. Not only was my wife cheating with Austin, but she was also involved with her coworker and her husband, the one she'd mentioned when proposing their open marriage. The happy hours, the so-called late nights at work, it had all been a cover. I was blindsided. 15 years of marriage, and this is how it ends? with lies and betrayal and God knows how many other men. I didn't confront her, didn't see the point. I filed for divorce the next day and moved out while she was at work, left my keys on the kitchen counter, and walked away from 15 years of my life. Let me reiterate, most men don't move this fast. They allow themselves to be manipulated into going to counseling. Not saying counseling is bad, but most of the time, counseling is implemented at the wrong step. People are caught cheating, then they want to do counseling. At that point, in my opinion, might be too late. And even if you do counseling at the right time, once you have broken someone's trust, counseling may be futile. The divorce was ugly, as these things often are. She tried to paint me as controlling, said I had driven her to cheat by being emotionally unavailable, but the PI's evidence was pretty damning. In the end, she didn't get a damn penny. Now here I am, starting over at 47. Some days I'm angry, some days I'm just sad. Mostly I'm trying to figure out who I am without her. Was I the asshole for ending it so abruptly? I don't think so, but I couldn't see any other way forward. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. And without trust, what's left? I keep asking myself if I could have done something differently. If I'd been more attentive, more understanding, would she still have strayed? But I think that's a trap. Her choices were her own. I can't take responsibility for them. So I'm moving forward, one day at a time. It's not easy, but it's necessary. I'm rediscovering old hobbies, reconnecting with friends I'd drifted away from, trying to remember who I was before I became half of a couple. There are good days and bad days. Sometimes I miss her so much it physically hurts. Other times I'm furious, wanting to call her up and demand answers. But mostly, I'm just trying to heal. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll find love again someday. Maybe I won't. But I know I made the right choice in walking away. Sometimes loving yourself means letting go of someone who doesn't value you the way you deserve. Yep, when one door closes, another one is waiting to open for you. To anyone out there facing a similar situation, all I can say is this: trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. And don't be afraid to walk away if that's what you need to do to protect yourself. It's not easy, but it's worth it in the end. As for me, I'm taking it one day at a time, learning to be okay on my own again. It's a journey, but I'm hopeful. After all, the end of one chapter is just the beginning of another. Here's to whatever comes next. Update. After about 8 months after the divorce, one of my ex-wife's old friends told me that my ex-wife and Austin had split up. Since they too had an open relationship, Austin had met someone and ended the relationship with my ex-wife, and he started seeing someone else. She was living with Austin but moved out when he wanted to see the other woman exclusively. The coworker she was also having relations with, they closed their relationship. My ex-wife was transferred to another bank branch about 4 hours from where we used to live. She has tried to call, email, and text me. I didn't respond to any of her messages. Well, sometimes these alternative relationships that so many people seek don't always have the happy ending they desire. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.